Guys, quick report on this week. So far this week I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tardies in this class. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 absences. Most of you would be fired by now from your job. There's a very small difference between being someplace 3 minutes early and 3 minutes late. It's not a big difference in your life, but it's a big difference in your level of responsibility. So I gave you the warning now rather than in the class, so it wouldn't be a total bummer. But many of you have to do better. Some of you haven't been on time for weeks. Have to come on time. All right, here we go, Jeremy. Go ahead and shut the door. Make sure it's unlocked. Go to the beginning, Jeremy.
Yeah, everyone can sit down.
let you believe me or not on that, because you want to move, but boy, when you go here, especially as big as you are, that's your strength. You know what I'm saying? Especially on this piece. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You see that? He modified. So Jeremy's tendency is to go like this, and it needs to be, and that's all of our tendencies. It needs to be exact opposite. You know, remember the chef on Ratatouille. You worked right here, oboes in, right? It's a perfect it's a perfect example of that conducting the space of that and the use of the elbows and the arms. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay.
Josh Wrist. It's Josh Wrist. Who's that?
Oh yeah,
Oh
the
my
guy.
gosh.
He is. He really is. Okay.
Does he do a voice imitation, or you just mean physically?
Looks like
It was the woman though who demonstrated that, not the character. The real chef. Here we go. Yeah, don't move your hands if you don't have to.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's not rhythmic, because you can keep track in your head. Several different levels of music making, and I really want to hammer these home. I'd love for you 10 years from now to be able to literally just remember this list of music making that happens in the Romantic period going forward. It's 100% appropriate depending on the music in the 20th and 21st century. What was the first level? Text accent. Not a lot of accent here. It's all one word. It's all one syllable things. Okay, what's the second one? Crescendo, decrescendo. What's the third level? Speed up, slow down. Okay. What's the fourth one? This is the gold standard of music making. Right?
Phrasing.
And what does that mean?
Combining them all together.
Building phrases together to make a larger thing.
Right.
Which is phrasing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know that everyone always understands phrasing means that. It means seeing the structure of the whole piece. So So we got 4 things here that happen. How can we make these 4 things become one thing? Is it loud, soft, loud, soft? Is it soft, more, less? Is it, you know what I'm saying? What do we do to this to make 4 things become one section of music?
I don't know, I can try something.
Let's try it.
Experiment.
In the end, we dream up things in our desks, and then we try them out on the choirs, and we find out usually they don't work. And then we do something else. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with studying and thinking of the thing that later won't work.
All right.
At least you've eliminated that one. That's awesome. Is that the best thing? I don't know, maybe not.
I control a lot more vertical space.
Yeah, but the issue isn't if that was the best. That was, we did something. We just didn't think about getting through those 4 sections, okay? Let me give you one idea that you haven't thought of. And here we go, right at the beginning. And T, and. one thing that I try to do to that is to see if I can make the dead spaces music. Right? You want to, one way or another, avoid the dead space being the time when no music happens. Right? So I ask you, why did he write the dead spaces?
To let you reflect.
Okay, that's a great interpretation. So what would that look like in an interpretation? You know, because reflection is something. It's not waiting, right? It's not. You don't want that part to be this is the part where music doesn't happen. Yes.
In connection to reflection, I also think it could be taken as prayerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
As a,
Right, and that's a similar thing with a different, right? But it means different things to different people.
Yeah.
And the conductor can certainly take that. And so think about those silent spaces being part of the music. I love how you made every 4 of them different. And I liked how you decided to make beat 2 more important. I mean, look, anytime anyone makes any beat more important than one, I'm a fan. I don't care, you know, whether it worked or not. I'm so sick of beat 1. I mean, it is just the real problem. Can we go to this dog stormy hour? I thought you did really well on that. One of the things that I write about in the score study thing is consider conducting the rhythm and not the melody. One thing we do with instrumental ensembles is you almost always conduct the rhythm, not the melody, which is odd for choral people because it just doesn't make any sense to us. But that's how you make orchestras play well. Is you don't conduct the melody, you conduct a dum dum dum, and then the oboe plays something really beautiful. And so what I want you to do this time is I want you to conduct the melody.
Okay.
Okay? Right there. You were making the melody beautiful, and the heart and the rhythm will work it out. Okay?
Okay.
You do have to conduct every beat that happens, but you know what I'm saying. Conduct the rhythm. Same spot. Swing away. So what'd you think?
I personally like the second one felt actually a lot more
interesting. I think I preferred the first one. That's not the right answer. I don't tell you that to tell you that you're wrong. I tell you that just to tell you what I thought. What did you guys think? Yes, Danica.
The first time was more musical. The second time was more predictable. So it felt better. I'm guessing it felt better for Jeremy because he knew who was going to sing what when.
Yeah. Maybe so. That's a good point. David, did you say something? Or was that Donnie?
It was just really beady and I don't know.
It was more metrical.
We knew what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, and a choir sings better when they know when the next beat is, right? And I have often said that there is a kind of musicality in people singing together. When people don't sing together, it's not musical, no matter how musical you are. Okay. Very interesting. Good job, Jeremy. 1, 2, 3. Molly has taught me well. Donnie.
No, it's in remembrance.
And
Wow. The stand had a beating.
Oh, there's one in this. There is one in the hallway if you want. That's probably some rehearsal PSTD there, probably. Oh, maybe. Sometimes people get angry while they're yelling at rehearsal.
Then take the stand.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Check it.
It looks to me like someone lost their temper.
Okay. I know I'm always the bad guy. Can we have a stand?
You're not the best.
I like standing.
I don't think anyone minds standing
We sit too much.
in general.
I gotta get Earth Song out of my head. That's the whole like. Yeah, can we scoot this way?
No, you scoot back.
And you guys scoot this way, or just you two?
I think his request is legitimate. I also think their point that you should always make sure the accompanist is. You go like this,
Yeah.
and the accompanist is in front of your hands.
I was doing
This
that.
is a bad room for that
Yeah.
but it's still true. You don't want the accompanist to be over your shoulder. That's really high school, and when the conductor gets about 3 feet away from the choir, and then the pianist is somewhere over to the side. And don't do that. Make the accompanist part of the ensemble. Don't make them an extra part over the side, out of the way. And then make sure you give them a bow.
Quick question: I know it's English, but people studied this. People have actually it's English, but it's a poem. What do you guys read from this? What do you guys think about it? What do you think it is? It's in remembrance, but what do you?
Can you dramatically read it for us?
So Donnie, I love text discussions. You don't have much time to conduct.
Okay.
So is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things, but I want to see you conduct.
Thank
go to the beginning. You guys can have a seat. A couple things. First of all, Donnie's doing text accent, right? Yeah, he's doing really well. It's a good model there. Donnie is doing crescendo and decrescendo. He's not always getting what he wants, and he's not always using the right gesture for it. But he's certainly conducting that. He's trying that. And I think you're doing rubato as well. Again, not always as effective. You're better at slowing down than speeding up. Okay? And so that makes sense. So I want to work on a couple technical things, right? I just wanted to say that because I think he's doing a really, really, really good job, and I think he has some good musical ideas for the piece. I think it's interesting. He's doing things. So right at the beginning, when you give your prep, you're turtling, and that's when you go.
It's bad.
Okay.
I was watching a director online that was like this.
I know. It is. There is something in us that believes that when we do that, we're being musical. And lots of people do it. It's a completely normal thing. So let's not do it anymore. And so here's how you stop turtling. Here we go. Everybody, right at the beginning, do not. And what beat do we start on? Is it 2?
Yep.
And here's turtling, just so you know.
I
Right?
hate that.
Yeah, well, it's not great for you guys, right?
I can feel
Yeah,
my larynx.
right. Everything's bad in terms of your singing thing, right? So all you have to do is just take your arm lower and then and then feel yourself like almost lengthen. It's not a real lengthen. Don't do anything weird, but and that was a great entrance, by the way, and I take full credit for it. Okay, I mean you could tell right where it is.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to come in right. No one wants to come in wrong. At least people at your level. Sometimes people start ignoring you in middle school sometimes, and you have to fight for it. You understand? Here we go. Show us. Do a couple entrances here. Really tall. That's good. That was awesome. That entrance was better than before. You can compare it on the tape if I'm still taping. And so you can see that, okay? That's number 1. So I love what he does like this. I think this is really good. The elbows are out, the hands are here, and it's like he's modeling clay or something like that. And this is what John Alexander, who was the Vancouver Chamber Choir, he's retired a number of years ago, calls the font. And he believes that as humans, we see this as being heartfelt and tender and caring. And that is a very human gesture when we work right here. And I've always loved that. You almost always are doing your conducting there. There's not enough here. And so this part is almost not entirely, but as a rule, almost unused in your conducting. And that's, of course, the spot that Rod Eigenberger wants the whole world to conduct more. And his belief is that is where our power is. Right? This is where we do that. So I want you to just to start it, and I want you to not do this for a little bit, even though that's, I think, really nice. Okay? And I just want you to work into this area right here. Okay? Okay. We got a minute, yeah. Yeah, lower. You're still too high. But that was lower than before. Good job. Be willing to go lower. If you go too far, we'll tell you, right? Don't. It's not like we're going to ruin you. It'll be okay. So that's not too low. Does it feel like amazingly low to you? Like frighteningly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with your body type, with who you are, that works. Did anybody, maybe the first one a little bit, but not, that's really powerful. And here's why this matters. When you want to do more, when you're conducting up here, when you want more, then you go like this. And that is usually a fairly ineffective gesture for anything except hailing taxis in New York City. Okay? And so, but if you're here, then you go like this. Now we have something, right? But when you start here, all you can do with that is. So we only have 30 seconds. So let's find a spot you want to crescendo. We don't have to start at the beginning. And let's try going low like that and experimenting with
Measure 8.
Okay, there we go. use that at the beginning and then stay down there, but then lengthen that, what you're doing there.
Ms. Ray?
Tape. I'm gonna bet you, we don't have time to do the one way, other way. I'm gonna bet you got a centered, more focused, powerful sound there and less, wah! You know what I'm saying? Okay. Thoughts on that, class? You could see that difference, right? And people always want a big sound, and then we tell them they can't do it like that, and they're like, well, then how am I supposed to write? The answer to that is this. Right. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3.
You measured that.
I know. It's Molly's instruction. What's wrong? The stand? I know. Do you think it was a percussion instrument? Is that what?
No, it looks like someone lost their anger and just went like this.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's
Who among us hasn't done that? Anybody?
I've broken
Not
down
with stand.
in my
Right.
life.
During my first year of teaching, in which I internalized a lot of rage at my students, mostly because I didn't know how to teach, and then they behaved like normal middle schoolers. I always had this dream of sort of throwing my stand, not at them. I did not visualize hurting people, but like getting their attention by picking my stand and throwing it across the room, and then seeing all the little 12-year-old faces like completely.
This was a dream or this actually happened?
No, I
Yeah.
just
Fantasy.
fantasy, right?
After 2 weeks, actually happened.
That's easy for me.
That's how you get fired. But all right, here we go.
Well,
By the way, we're here to teach you how to not feel powerless in that way. To have teaching techniques that do that for you instead of wishing you could throw something. I didn't actually receive any classes that taught me how to teach.
This seems a little rhythmical.
Let's work on that last chord.
Yeah.
Can we just sing that F major chord, sopranos? If you don't want to sing the high A, it's fine. You can. It's fine. I'll take it. Just give us the gesture that we want right
Yeah,
there.
I'd love to see that. You want to take it?
I'll take it.
I'll go just right on.
Sometimes with the kids, I would sing those. You know when the middle school girls goes, I can't sing that high. and so then I'd sing their part.
So just on the on.
Yeah, just sing the Zion. Just sing Zion. Yeah. Zion. So two things have to happen there. One is we need to get a sound from the choir that we want, right? So everybody sing Zion, no accompaniment, and T, and Zion. Right? But we also need to conduct the accompanist, right? So how are we going to do these two mutually exclusive things, right? And so we probably want to go in Zion. So what I would suggest, what I might do, I don't know if that matters here, is I would put this hand down here and set that floor like this is where I want it, and then I would give rhythm on this. And so hopefully the choir wouldn't go, oh, but he would still know what that is. Let's try Zion, 1, 2, T, and Zion. I forgot how many measures there were. You understand that technique? And so this is a really normal thing where we need to conduct rhythm, but we need the choir not to sing rhythm. And this kind of sets that space, right? Put it super low. Here we go. Try it for me. See if this works for you. Put it right here.
Yeah.
Like you're holding it. Pretend that you're holding basketball, right? And maybe something heavier, right? And so that we'll feel that sense of weight and power. What was that, Danica?
Bowling ball.
Yeah, well, I almost said that, but most people couldn't.
Like a 6-pound bowling ball.
Yeah, most people couldn't. That's, oh, yeah. It needs to be heavier, but it can't be a beach ball because a beach ball is too light. It needs to be something with weight that people feel that. Do it again. And the minute you're done, then you can go like that, because you're done conducting him, and then you can reattend to that space and a little bit of crescendo. That's right. So right at the beginning. So what do you think happens musically on this entrance in the soprano, the alto, and the bass and the tenor on beat 3? Is it come fathers and is it come fathers and mothers? What's the musical characteristic of that beat 3?
I think it's more of a pickup than anything, so it shouldn't necessarily be accented, but it should be present. Does that make sense?
Yes. Everybody, can you sing the soprano part? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's on the soprano part a bar and a half before they come in. And 1, 2, 3, and 2. So that's one idea. So what I did there is I didn't give a heavy rebound on 2, and then I went come father. So I was trying to get him to crescendo through it without accenting it, because once you accent it, you can't crescendo, because the definition of an accent is that's right. Wow, you guys are awesome. Because everyone always says an accent is a forte. It's not. It's a decrescendo. Because an accent can happen on a piano, right? Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so it's the character of the sustain, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1. Come, fathers. Something that doesn't show a heavy entrance, but shows a crescendo maybe in the father. You want to try that?
Sure.
Bar and a half before we come in. Do you want everyone to sing a soprano, or would you like us to go to your own parts?
Do the soprano for now, just
Okay.
so we can all get it, and then, because everyone does it eventually.
Yeah, go 1, 2. Come, 1, 2. Come. I think that people can tell. Everybody sing that. And 1, come. Yeah, so 1, stop, come, not 1.
Yeah.
And we show accent by the prep.
Yeah.
So if we don't want people to accent or decay, then we have to show that in the beat, the rebound before, or the prep. Rebounds and preps are the same thing. I mean, they happen during the same time period. Okay, try it. Here we go. Come, fathers and And that's how you keep this piece from sounding like this. Everybody, one, go. Come, fathers and mothers, come, fathers and mothers. Which is lovely for about a bar and a half. And about after a bar and a half, it's like, so we're going to do this for 4 minutes. You know what I mean? Kind of a headbanger choral music. We're just, right?
Yeah.
Good. Good job. 1, 2, 3. Nicely done. Who's finishing? Our very last round one conductor. Yes.
Wait, nobody did?
We have multimeters.
Terrence was supposed to conduct it. So what I'm trying to set up is that if you take this class as a project class for 1 credit, either in winter and spring, which I will offer next year, then there's a parallel track that you do with different repertoire that is more complicated. That was supposed to be a more challenging piece. And so it's a way that you can do advanced conducting beyond the year if you want to try to add that in. And I'll make space for people if you've taken these classes. But Terrence is taking 24 credits.
Yeah, that was not
And so
good.
I've released him from his...
Yeah.
And he actually didn't, honestly, this term, take the class for credit because he couldn't, because he had 24 credits. So of his 24 credits, this wasn't one of them. So I told him he needed to make choices.
Are you teaching it next year or the year?
Yes, I'm going to start teaching this class every year.
Oh, that's good.
So if you wanted to come in winter and spring and be the advanced track where you kind of take the class, I mean, you kind of see what I'm experimenting with Terrence, but I give you different repertoire. That's available to you. All right. And you can do it for 1 credit. You don't have to pay for 2. I can't tell you how many times I forgot a moving note on a piece like this. Yeah, especially when it's not like in your part, right? Yeah. What's up, Cleo? It's very musical. I'd like you to keep your palm down more,
Okay.
I think, okay? So let me talk to you quickly about the theory behind this. I hate it when people tell you this is how you're supposed to conduct and they say why. Well, that's because it's the way it's done. First of all, there's a bunch of things in the textbooks in which they say things like that, and it's just flat not true. And so, but they keep writing these books and putting these things in them, right? So, a lot of people say you should conduct with your palm down. Why? Well, here's my theory, is that we show space to people and they respond to space. We respond to movement and we respond to space. We respond to movement mostly in terms of rhythm. We respond to space in terms of dynamics and tone quality. And that's why we can't just go like this and get the same sound as like this. Because this shows the absolute minimum of space, maybe no space, right? A clenched hand. And so the question we have is when you put your hands or your arms in different positions, how does that affect the space that we perceive? Space is the space that you're not your arms, but the space that your arms are showing, right? The imaginary space. I wish there was some way we could quantify this to have people, their eye, you know what I'm saying? So when your hands are like this, we're showing this much space. When our hands are like this, we show this space. That's fine and good, but you see how high that is? Right? You take your hand and you put it like this. Now we're showing this space. That's totally different space in this. Your hand is at the same spot, but yet you're showing a completely different thing. I'm absolutely convinced that people respond to this. I'm sure in different degrees, right? Intuitively, right? So when our hands like this, we're not showing this, we're showing this. Okay? The minute we go like this, that disappears and it becomes this. When our hand rotates, which you do a little bit, then we don't really ever get space because our eyes, it's not in place long enough for it to matter. Right? Does that make sense? And so sometimes, now, this is why this works, right? So using what I've told you, that's why we can conduct like that. And we show space, because the other hand is the other thing. If I take that away, and suddenly that has no meaning, right? Yeah. So start at the beginning, and for the most part, keep the palm down unless, got 2 minutes, unless you put the other hand there, and then you can go like this. I do find, and this is what Donnie does, is he conducts with this, I do find that when both hands are like this, that's really effective, because you're showing that. Try that. Ooh, thanks for the thumb. Good. See what I'm talking about? Yeah, so now just roll your hand a little bit for us. We only have 30 seconds left, and most of us, yeah. Yeah, you kind of you do a little bit of that.
Okay.
It's really normal. People do that all the time. And it's, all the textbooks say it's wrong, but I say, why is it wrong? Right? Maybe it's not wrong. Maybe it's cool. I don't think it is. I've always been the kid since I was young who, when my parents told me not to do something, I said, why? If your kids ever say to you, why? Say, good for you. It's exactly the question you should be asking the rest of your life. Why? That's not insubordination. That's called intelligence. Yeah. Roll your hand. Here we go. terms of the phrase? Yeah. Very, very good. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thanks for guys. Thanks for letting me yell at you early and have a good class. So I checked the syllabus. I forget what's on Monday, what's on Wednesday, but one of the days is the reading.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be today.
Yeah, but I changed it on the syllabus.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I changed it on the syllabus on Canvas.
Okay.
I adjusted everything. I just didn't look at it before I came to class tonight, so I'm telling you to look at it. And then one of the days is a lecture on multimeter conducting.
Right.
I forget which one is which.
Okay.
So if Monday is the reading day, then that's the day for that. Make sure you do that. I just can't remember which one I decided.